They have endured an age of darkness and tyranny, though most did not know it. When my war against Vlaakith is done, everything will change. My people are leaving, and I must leave with them. Come, Lae'zel. We will free the Githyanki and dismantle the Empire. Let them be imprisoned no longer. An Illithid ally. It would be most unorthodox, but advantageous. To lock more gear. Sister in freedom. I welcome you to the fight.
Orpheus, I am ready.
Kulos! Kuthos! Come, both of you. The future begins.
It's over. And it's all because of you. You, who were destined to become a thrall. Thanks to you, there will be no Illithid Empire, no Death God's tyranny. You have earned your place amongst the legends of the Sword Coast. You are the saviors of Baldur's Gate. While navigating the disordered environs of Limbo, you and Lae'zel heard the summons, a telepathic emanation. You are accustomed to receiving dispatches and battle orders from the Githyanki rebel forces in this form. But this was different, an invitation to a gathering of friends, those allies who stood with you against the Netherbrain. Those who thwarted the grand design. Those who made your war against Vlaakith's tyranny possible. You cannot join them in person, but you shall be with them again, nonetheless. To project your image through the cosmos. Such is the skill of the Prince of the Comet. You have no doubt it can be done.
Thou wert called here, some from above, some below. For with thine bond, together thou hast kept the wheel of fate spinning when it threatened to halt. though thou wert drawn far apart in the months after the collapse of the Absolute. Tonight, fate renews thy bond once more. Thou shouldst take care to preserve it. It is a great weapon, wielded in the hand of good. Go. Know one another once more.
New days, old friends. There's no greater joy.
I wonder if I can get this for my own cellar.
I must be careful to not
Past me,
overindulge tonight.
present.
Lest I
I'm glad for
try and
it.
slip into bed.
For this.
Now there's a face I
There you are. Keeping us all on tenterhooks so you could make a dramatic entrance, is it? Starting to wonder if you'd show up. In all likelihood, it will be. But we mustn't let that stop us. Oh, come here, will you? It's been forever. You feel a little more substantial than before. Less camping and scrounging off the land, I take it. Same. In fact, I found a nice meadow not far from where I live now. Every now and again, I'll spend the night there. For old time's sake. I'm glad you seem well. Truly. Wandering, mostly. The adventuring life is almost a tonic when you're not constantly threatened by brain monsters and cultists. I can finally see the world beyond the cloister. One of my first stops was the House of the Moon in Waterdeep. It's the largest temple of Selûne in existence. It seemed like the perfect spot to reflect on my parents, on where they came from. And where I came from too, I suppose. Hard to imagine, isn't it? Me, of all people, in the lair of the Moon Witch herself. Gods, your truest act of heroism was putting up with all that char and drivel I was spouting for so long. Oh, I know they are. I can still sense them, I think. And one day we'll be reunited. Well, I've had run-ins with my former fellow Sharans on a couple of occasions. Word seems to have spread of what happened at the cloister. Now other chapters of Shar worshippers see me as a prime target to offer up to their lady as a sacrifice. Don't worry. I know their tired old tricks better than anyone. They'll need more than a hooded cloak and poisoned blade to best me. Especially when I have a friend on the inside keeping me abreast of their predictable little plans. None other. The matter of her faith and allegiances remains complicated, let's say. But she is still my oldest friend. I have hopes that perhaps she might turn from Shah entirely given time. But that's a decision she will have to make for herself. If that day comes, I'll be ready. Must I? You presume a great deal. I'm joking. Of course I want to know. Tell me all. Do you ever rest? Think of all those poor, budding adventurers looking to make a name for themselves. Take some time off and give them a chance, why don't you? Hopefully, these meetups will become a regular occurrence. It's not that I miss the tadpoles, but at least it brought us together. Now we've got to make the extra effort ourselves. Don't remind me. Someone's always got somewhere else to be. But let's do our best all the same. After all, we've faced down bigger threats than wrangling together a few social calendars. Don't be a stranger.
A familiar sight. Scratch can't quite speak around the thing he has in his mouth.
So am I. I've got a nice home in the city now. A girl named Mindy says I'm her best friend. She's mine too. Also you, and Albert. I've got so many best friends, I hardly know who to snuggle. I missed your smell, but this thing I found had you all over it. I brought it for you, and I thought perhaps you'd like to throw it? You know best, but a little fetch never hurt anyone, as far as I know. I certainly have, and I always will. Forever, I think. And so will you.
This is nice. A little tame compared to the parties, but it has a quaint charm.
Friend? Friend! You came! Big Brother Scratch, too! Happy? Yes, big! But Scratch is smart. Teaches me many things. Like Big Brother. Yes. Miss this. More. Yes. Miss this. More. Lots. Make friends with a turtle, a cat, a kraken. Kraken eats my cat friend, so I bite, kill. With shiny clothes, I am strong. Tired now. Want sleep. Want cave. Bear man? He is big, but not bigger than me. I like him. I go to him.
Aha! You see, Boo? I told you our friend was near. Boo! We are not dreaming. It is our old friend. What is reuniting with old comrades, if not the stuff of dreams? But Minsk is full-clothed, so this must be no vision. You will forgive the aroma, I hope. We were not expecting the Dusty One to open a portal to our very cell. Boo had a moment to lick himself clean, but there is a little too much of Minsk to cover. Minsk and Boo have been helping, of course. We guard the streets, while Jaheira is occupied with harperish matters. The Zentarum rule the city's underbelly, so Minsk and Boo went to give them a tickle. There were harsh words, battle cries, some manner of head wound. We awoke in a Zentish cell, awaiting trial by noble combat. Execution, says Boo, though I am not sure of the difference. It is a long walk to the gallows, and Minsk still has his fists, no? She told Minsk and Boo to behave themselves, which is why we shall be back in our cell by dawn. But leave such matters for the morn. Tonight is for celebration and the telling of tales. How have you filled your days since we tore the sticky tyrant from the sky? Minsk hears the determination rattle your cry. Even if he can't remember who is the Comet and who the Lich Queen. Boo will remind him of the details later. He has the memory of a miniature giant space elephant. There is much merriment to be made before the night is done. Go, and greet the others. Minsk shall make himself presentable. This pond shall do nicely, Boo. Though I see no soap, so you shall have to blow the bubbles for me.
There you are. I was hoping you'd make your way over. A beautiful night. I wish it could last forever.
Just the same old chatter. Does no one here get drunk and spill secrets?
made present. I'm glad for it. For this.
Gods, I must look a mess. I just rolled out from under a pesky ogre when Withers yanked me in. Oh, I didn't mean... Well, I didn't mean that. I just gutted the ogre, not... How about I change the subject before I dig this hole any deeper? You look positively perfect, if a bit shimmery at the edges.
To your relief, your projection holds. It took a dozen Gish's talents, a few stolen psi crystals, and 2 10 days of effort to conjure it. You can touch, taste, and talk. But your fleshy body is in Limbo, the home of the mystical Githzerai. Once, the Githzerai were one with the Githyanki, until bloody civil war severed the Gith species. The Githzerai god king, Menyar Ag-Gith, sent word through the cosmos. He knows of your rebellion, and he's agreed to parley. Should the Githzerai join you, you could vanquish Vlaakith in a red dragon's blink.
How fares the comet's path? I wager you've cracked open more Kithraki heads than you could possibly count. Diplomacy. Not so different from fighting, I find. You still grip your blade, you just hide it beneath a silken glove. How you thrill in the blade's hunt, Lae'zel. The trolls I've torn open, the ghouls I've cleaved, the stories I've been itching to tell. I don't suppose you'd indulge me. Yes, but just the one, or I'll be yammering all night. You want to hear about the Stegosaurus that bullied Candle Keep, the impossible Lich, or the young dragon who crawled out of Deeping Cave? There are tales galore of a great green dragon called Clogiliometer. Try saying that 5 times in a row. Clogiliometer, Clogilymuffer, Clogamother, whatever. Let's call it Old Gnawbone. Turns out, Old Gnawbone had kids. And one of them flew the roost and took to stalking a small elven enclave outside Crypt Garden Forest. The damned dragon had turned the place into a slave camp before I arrived. Sordid beyond words. He was a big boy, but still a young'un. A wonder of the skies, but a lumbering oaf on the ground. I tried a sly approach, but the whelp saw me coming and up it flew. Poison poured from its mouth as it descended. I tumbled away, cast flesh to stone, and it crashed to the ground. I could have ended the battle there and then, but this was prey that deserved to be played with. The beast was a smoking heap of black-green scales once the battle was over. The elves and I sang songs and drank mead in celebration until their barrels went dry. I've missed you too. The rush of battles we fought, the heart-to-hearts, the nights around the fire, the comfort of knowing I didn't face the unknown alone. If I had to do it all over again, and I'd rather not, to be clear, I can't imagine not having you at my side. I wish you'd been there to join in. Oh, to battle together, just like the old days. I suppose that's my way of saying I miss you. Tonight, I toast not just the people we've become, but the people we were. Warriors, winners, saviors. I've seen him more than a few times, and he's as proud of me as I am of him. He's leading the city's renewal, opened the gates to all newcomers, rebuilt the council from scratch. And he's back in his element, commanding the Flaming Fist with brave heart and no shortage of empathy. The likes of Gortash can bend people's minds with a few chosen words. No tadpole needed. Bane's Chosen primed the Fist for a war they weren't meant to win. He convinced them there was an assassin hiding in every shadow, that cruelty was the correct answer to crisis. With a few exceptions, fathers pardoned every last Fist. If my forgiveness not be Tyr's will, so be it. I shall forgive them all the same. His words, not mine. He still believes in the bow and the blade, but with Floric's help, he's teaching the Fist a new lesson. Valor is found not in the wounds you inflict, but in the lives that you have bettered. May they all take it to heart. She's kept her leash loose, though I've been no stranger to the hells. Every target she's set me on's been a demonic intruder. Tenari assassins who slip into Avernus, Armonites that amass near the Styx. My next mark's the most challenging yet, or so she says. I don't know much more, only that it's no demon, but a devil. She's playing a game. I don't know what it is or how she plans to win, but I can tell you this much. I'd fall on my own blade and join the blood war in an instant should Zariel's hell-touched fingers stretch towards the coast. And as long as I'm more useful as a warlock, that's not a risk Mazora would take. Go on, the night's young. You shouldn't waste a moment of it. Or waste a single drop of wine for that matter. I plan on downing half a bottle myself. Oops, did I say half a bottle? I meant half a dozen.
You made it! Now the revelry can truly begin. You would think someone of my vintage would be inured to the passage of time. Yet these past 6 months have seemed endless without your company. But now, our paths cross once more. Perhaps that is so for you, but for me... It may be that a peaceful life after so many years of tumult has made me sentimental. I dwell upon what we shared. That bond was forged in a crucible that can never be stoked again, Oak Father willing. It is a bond that can weather any distance, any passage of time. I know it can, for I feel the longing for old friends in my heart each day. You are right, of course. I am accustomed to dwelling on the past, even when it brought me nothing but unhappiness. You changed that, and gave me the most precious of memories. Now the task is to make yet more of them, so that each reunion shall be all the sweeter. And who's to say we need to make such gatherings a rare occasion? My hearth is yours to warm yourself beside always. Now, we have much to catch up on. Do not allow me to ramble on. I am eager to hear all you've been doing. In that case, very well. Our community grows rapidly. In 6 months, we have turned what was once a shadowy wasteland into a true home for all. In another 6 months, I would wager the scars of the past will be entirely invisible, even to those who remember them. The old masonry of Moonrise Towers and Rythwin have been repurposed into new homes, and the land is rich with harvests and bountiful trees. Nature and civilization are in harmony. Stronger together. My greatest purpose and greatest reward. Those children have been through more than fate had any right to cast at them, and yet they go on as resilient as anything in nature. I impart what knowledge I can to them, yet, in truth, they teach me far more. The land we saved is theirs, and they will cherish it, I'm sure. Nathaniel and Oliver shall never want for friends again. You are welcome whenever you like, and for however long you please. Now, please, tell me all, and spare no details. I shall not lie. I have an ulterior motive in wishing to hear all. It is the children, you see. My charges. Their appetite for bedtime tales is greater than I could ever have anticipated. Another story, Daddy Halsin. Another is the chorus that greets me each nightfall. They have all but exhausted my repertoire in but a few short months. No mean feat given the lifetime I have lived. I desperately need new material, please. My reputation is at stake. More than a few, I should think. At least I shall be equipped to explain the birds and the bees when the time comes. But I hope that time is quite a while off yet. I am all ears, though I never cared for that phrase. A rather unsettling image. You are truly incapable of disappointing. The children shall be wrapped, and have no fear. All due credit shall be given to the tale's originator. Now, it would be cruel of me to hoard you all to myself for the evening, as much as I would like to. I shall leave you to the others for now, unless there was anything else. Quite often. They come and go as they please. But with so many playmates to avail of, they are far from strangers. They ask after you often. What you did for them will never be forgotten. I can see it in the land all around me. But more importantly, I see it in their faces whenever they visit. To make a child smile is to dabble with the power of gods as far as I'm concerned. I spend half my days in ursine form. The children demand it. I had a score of them taking turns riding upon my back just days ago. I'm glad they are so comfortable with the Oak Father's creations. But they must learn that not all are as amiable as I am. A lesson for another time, though. They deserve some joy. As for roaming, that impulse has dwindled, I must admit. Perhaps because I have found where I am meant to be. Do you truly even need to ask? Of course. Who could not open their home to a befeathered hero of Baldur's Gate? And I did promise the children I would bring them back a surprise. Oh, imagine their faces. On occasion, but I prefer not to interfere. Francesca of the High Forest is Archdruid now, and by all accounts, she has proven to be a steady and wise influence. Even Korga may yet find true balance, thanks to her influence. As did I, but somehow I feel like I no longer need to roam. That I have found something worthy laying roots for. Amazing what can be discovered about oneself, even at a ripe old age. By all means. Your embrace makes me feel safer than any armor could. Before you go, I have something for you. Just a little keepsake, really. Do you remember how I told you I like to whittle? I made this. Ducks are my favorite, but I thought they were particularly fitting in this case. They are migratory birds, of course, traveling far and wide with the turn of the seasons. Yet, they always find their way back to where they belong. Just like old friends find themselves back in each other's company. Oh, I am well aware, trust me. Now, I've taken up enough of your time. Go on, enjoy the festivities.
Eyes deceive me. The gang really is all here. Well, look who it is. At least I assume it's you in there. You squids all basically look the same. So, tell me, what have you been doing since this, travesty? Really? Really? Gods, people will accept anything. Of course. I've tried to taste everything this world has to offer. It has been a joy. I've been rediscovering what it means to be alive. More or less. Cazador's mansion has become my palace, and played host to every kind of banquet and soiree and masquerade imaginable. And of course, has seen its fair share of hedonism, clandestine deals, and the occasional disappearance. Whatever it takes to build up my influence over those who matter. I'm spinning my web. Power grows slowly, but I have nothing but time now. Oh, I wouldn't say ruler. Any old fool can sit on the throne. I would be more of a puppet master. For all my freedom to walk in the sun, it's still much more fun to pull the strings of power from the shadows. But the important thing is I am doing wonderfully. Finally having a life that's worth living. And who knows what's next? There's an entire world out there, ready for the taking. You see, this is why I always liked you. You can see the big picture. What needs to be done. I did miss you, you know. There is a sense of loneliness that comes with power. We did share a wonderful adventure, you and I. A pity to see it end in some ways. But we have great new lives stretching out before us, and great new adventures to go on. I will never forget the time we spent together, though. And I know you'll never forget me. Until next time, darling. Perhaps I should stretch my wings again. Who knows what people are gossiping about?
Thank Mother Give. The psionic projection is holding.
Now... Ah, my dear friend, it's been an age, has it not? You're looking, well... Our skeletal friend will be very pleased to see I found my way here, despite my invitation getting lost in the post. Always, my friend. But the villain I must needs slay today is my greatest yet. A deadline. You won't be surprised to find I'm soon to publish a little holiday read about our adventures together. I've gotten quite good at replicating your signature, so you needn't even bother with the release form. You might help me with the title, though. I'm considering The Hero and Me. What do you think? Who says you're the titular hero, Oh, I jest, probably. But believe you me, I couldn't have written a word without you. Perhaps, once the manuscript is finished, you'd even be willing to write a foreword? Or better yet, I'll write a draft and you can just sign your name. Better still, I'll sign it for you. Ah, your success really has been wonderful for my reputation. But you mustn't let me hog your attention all night, my friend. You've many friends to chat to, and I'd love to listen in.
Not one juicy secret to be heard. Such a pity.
A beautiful night. I wish it could.
Oh, hello. Let me guess, you've got some suggestions about the music choice. I find it hard to summon up the trademark pep these days. You have no idea who I am, do you? I thought Withers might have set the stage a little. I owe him a favor, one he is eternally invoking. I thought honoring the worthy was a fair price to pay for Withers to pull me out of the fugue plane. Alas, one purgatory to another. Perhaps I've not sufficiently explained my predicament. Before I was banished to the fugue plane, I had song prayers coming out the proverbial ears. Guess how many I get now? None.
Musical prayers were once offered to Melil, Lord of Song, a minor deity whose worship faded after offending the trickster god Cyric.
I'm washed up, I'm afraid. You know. You're bloody right. It is an honor. Finally. The scribe picks an adventurer of substance, of culture. What can I do you for? Your wish is my... etc. What song do you want? Fantastic idea. It'll suit the whole affair perfectly.
Why were we scrounging in barrels and crates for supplies when he could source
I
these?
don't know how to explain it. Maybe I don't need to.
God, I remember one evening when we had to eat 14 apples, some fish heads, and a stale loaf of bread just to get by.
Well, now. You can make yourself presentable when you have a mind to. Your higher form has brought with it some higher manners, then. Oh, forgive me. I am simply excitable. It is good to be out under an open sky once more. My first, since the reconstruction began. We left quite a mess behind. But the city begins to look something like itself once more. Same twisting alleys for purse pickers. Same wooden buildings ready to get burnt by next year's dragon. Same cisterns overflowing. Huh. Baldurians simply get on with it. Stubbornness, civic spirit, plain stupidity. Perhaps all three, but nothing I will sniff at any longer. Harpers have come from half the world over to lend aid. Farmers, masons, healers. My own son, Jord, has been wooed to their ranks. Already he plans crop cycles in Worm's Crossing. Not so for my daughter. Ryan's rejoined the Flaming Fist. Temporarily, you understand. To organize the craftsmen. Though she spends more time locking up comrades for pocketing aid funds. They might learn a thing or two if they don't expel her. Again. I suppose I am. Though they seem determined to make me redundant. Mistake me not. There is still much to be done. Plans to make, maps to be frowned over. But my children are more than capable of doing it. Even the young ones tire of me peeking over their shoulders. This night offers them a brief respite from me, at least. And this place, now I look at it, it is where you all spent your first night together, no? A fine spot for an adventure to begin. A fine spot indeed. And I them. But I cast a little more shade than I would like, and they are only beginning to see the sun. Which is my way of saying, I'd like to see the open road once more. Just for a time. I'll find my way back, as I always do. I admit defeat. Baldur's Gate is my home. But that is the thing about home. The only way to see it clearly is to leave. And look back. For a little while, at least. But, should a mother wish to know how her children are faring, not worrying, mind, only wondering, perhaps you might write and tell me of them. And of you, too. You are meant to be an evolved being, are you not? I'm sure you can master quill and parchment. And I vow to send them word of my own wanderings. If only to spare me Rion's wrath next I return. If you really want to help, you'll get Minsk out of trouble for me. Spare me that adventure. Still, we need not begin with the fare-thee-wells just yet. We have tonight. Be well, cub. We will speak again. But first, I must inspect the refreshments. You'll never know. Some ne'er-do-well might have tampered with the wine.
All this stimulating conversation leaves you hungry. To speak is not enough. You wish to explore the brain of your friend with your beak. Weary Jaheira. Over time, her stresses may have shrunk her hippocampus, making its taste more intense. This is highly illogical. There are plenty of other craniums awaiting your suction, and this is a prize ally. And besides, this brain before you, its endorphins are in a joyous flow. It is a wonderful scent, the odor of friendship.
Who paints the air? No more Amnian cheeses for you.
We've already had one heart-to-heart. Best to leave it at that, don't you think? I'm not sure I can manage another bout of sentimentality.
I've missed wine. Had to resort to making my own cider recently, which isn't bad, don't get me wrong. But a girl can't have fun with apples alone. You might be onto something there, though the name might need work. Somehow it sounds rude, even though I know otherwise. Come here. That hit the spot. Don't be a stranger.
Don't worry, friend. I'll be sure to send your royalties by post once the manuscript's published. I'm certain I have your address around here somewhere.
It truly is splendid to see everyone gathered together again, if only for a night. I hope the sun does not make haste to rise on us.
I should stretch my wings again. Who knows what people are gossiping about?
This one night is like any other, and yet different. Thou art the savior of Baldur's Gate, until such time it requires saving again. How dost thou feel? I am pleased to hear it. The satisfaction of one's intention is, to my surprise, a rare accomplishment. Enjoy the revelry of the day. Thou deservest at least that much.